Welcome back to our art sketchbook series. I have an art journal here. I'm going to work with my Neocolor 2 crayons. I have some watercolors and just some pencil and pen, just any kind of drawing tools that you want. But you could replace any of these items with what you have around your studio or your house. I have a bunch of images here of things that are from kind of a mood board that are inspiring me in the moment. I often talk about working from things you're curious about, things you're interested in. Not only does I think it help you to connect in your art practice when you're working from things you are curious about, but it also you start to learn about different things and, really kind of evolve and change as an artist. So I have these flowers here. I found them at Trader Joe's. I've always been very curious about these flowers. I think they're just absolutely beautiful in their shape. They kind of almost have that kind of artichoke look to them. So I'm really just going to start with a contour drawing, meaning that I'm not picking up my pencil. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm really just trying to study the movement of the petals. So, it's not going to be exact, but I want to create some expression and keep kind of my pencil moving to really create just kind of these expressive marks and really start to observe and get to know the object better. You could be working from anything. You could be working out and doing landscapes this way, working from trees, fruit, anything that inspires you. You might love butterflies and you want to study the wings. Just take this into anything you are curious about. You can see here I'm kind of rolling my pencil, but I am not even at a few minutes at this point. That's how quickly I am doing this contour drawing. And I want to show you how quickly you can capture objects just by doing contours of them, even just in your pencil. If you wanted to stop there, you could. I'm going to be adding a little bit of color into these, but you could just do graphite or pen for these drawings. So I'm actually going to, I just kind of changed the angle, and that's another way to really kind of study your object from different angles. And here I'm actually going to add in some color. Again, bringing in these Neocolor crayons. There's also pencils that are water soluble, because you can come in with the color and then you can also come in with water to kind of spread it like a watercolor. And I love these tools. They allow you to still be kind of loose and free and do this contour like drawing, but also have a little bit more value by adding in the water and mixing in different colors as well. You could, instead of doing the pencil under drawing, you could absolutely just use these Neocolor crayons to work on just a different angle of the object that you're working on. But I love to explore, and it doesn't just have to be an object. Maybe it's a hobby. Maybe you're really interested in gardening, for instance. You might want to write down the whole process and when you have to put the seeds in, and you can actually do that by visual means, because it's a great way not only to connect to your art practice, but also to learn something and to grow. So instead of just reading about gardening, you can start to draw the flowers you might want to put into your garden, or the step-by-step phase of how to me it's fascinating, the decay and the rebirth of flowers, especially perennials. So you could deep dive into anything. It could be a psychological thing, maybe different attachment theories, and you can really put different images that represent different things to you. It can be any subject matter, but to me, a flower was really easy to connect to. Again, I don't know much about this flower. So in this process, I've actually learned that those protea flowers have been around for millions of years, and it's one of the oldest flowers existing on Earth. The word or the name comes from Greek mythology, from the goddess Proteus, which is a shapeshifter, which you can really see when you're drawing these, is that they really do bloom and change depending on if they're opened or closed. When I first got these, they were very closed, and then I allowed them to kind of open and dry out. So, there's lots that you can learn about. I kind of learned about where they came from, and, they talked a little bit about King Protea, and then they're the oldest flowers on the planet. So I can not only connect visually, but then I can start to write about this information or put little inserts about the information here as well. So you can see I'm kind of coming now in with my watercolors. I'm coming over that crayon. You can see how it kind of builds, not only in a drawing form, but you can start to build layers as well. And then I'm going to connect to some of those facts that I had learned. The name also means sugar brushes because of their incredible amount of nectar that is produced by the flower heads. And then just kind of maybe look into the regions. That might lead you down a different path of wanting to study the different regions they're from and maybe making a map of where they're from. It might lead you to a next art journal prompt that is all about the Greek mythology and Proteus, and you can talk about shape shifting, and then you might be down a new path to shape shifting. And so it really, when you start observing what's around you and what you're interested in, it can start to snowball. I think that we all can get stuck in our art practice, not know what to create. But when you keep following this, you can see how just one flower can snowball into something so much bigger. I can really dive into gardening. I can dive into the history, the culture of it, the colors, what people use it for. Is it used in herbs or lotions or medicinally? So there's so many different routes you can take once you just pick one thing that you are curious about. And then again, I love to write in my journals as well. So you'll see a lot of my journals have painting and drawing or collage mixed in with little notes, whether it be personal or facts or just information to just kind of inspire me and help me to learn and to grow as an artist. And that ultimately is what the art sketchbook is all about, is not only growing with our art technique, but also just growing and learning as people and really absorbing in new information that's inspiring. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I hope to connect with you soon.